Whatever happened to empathy and the American dream? Did you know that between 1900 and 1915, more than 15 million immigrants showed up in the US, and that was about the same as the previous 40 years combined? Furthermore, in 1910, 3/4 of the population of New York City was either immigrants or first-generation Americans, aka the sons and daughters of immigrants. See, immigration used to be so much easier and so much less complicated. You paid for your boat ticket, showed up somewhere like Ellis Island, and then you went through screening, and unless you were someone with a hardcore criminal record, nefarious background, or weren't able to work, it was pretty easy to get in and get to work. And unless you're Indigenous or Native American, I've got news for you. At some point, you were an immigrant. I myself am German, Ukrainian, and a hodgepodge of Scottish, Welsh, and English. And I don't really know when my ancestors made it over to the US, but I guarantee you they went through that same process. And what's really disheartening to me and really frustrates me is that people who look like me, who have ancestors who've been here for many decades, if not centuries, aren't able to extend that same olive branch and empathy to people who are coming to this country just to make a better life and future for themselves. And I know what the common rhetoric is going to be in response to that. Oh, well, they should have just come into this country the right way. But the right way has been so much harder in the last few decades, particularly since 1991. See, the quota for green cards hasn't changed since 1990. And in 2019, when they surveyed more than 100,000 legal immigrants, 28% of the family-sponsored and employee-based lines with quotas waited a decade or more to even apply for a green card, up from 3% in 1991. I can guarantee you in 2025 it's even worse. See, while I'm of German, Ukrainian, and UK-ish descent, my wife is Mexican. Her parents, the hardest working people I've ever met in my life, are Mexican. And what's going on right now in our country with ICE agents taking people out of schools and churches and workplaces is horrendous and utterly inhumane. And if empathy isn't your first response in this scenario and you still don't care, let's put this into dollars and cents and how it's going to impact you. Roughly half of the farm workers here in California and in the US are undocumented, and then 90% of those have been living in the US for years, paying taxes in other ways without really receiving any of the benefits. 13% of the construction industry is undocumented, and all this means is that produce you buy at the store is going to get more expensive, restaurants are going to get more expensive, housing is going to get more expensive, and this is only just the beginning. But this isn't a thing of numbers. Immigrants are what make America great. And these are real hardworking people and real families that are getting split up just for a political agenda. Put yourself in their shoes, try a little empathy, and imagine them through the eyes of your ancestors that came to this country, got jobs, and worked their way to a better life.